homemade soup time. It's kind of chilly out. I don't know if it's going to be chilly all day, but I've got me some rice here, and I got a pot of water on to boil. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook the rice. Okay, my water is at a boil, so I'm going to add in my rice. Let it return to a boil, and then just what I'm doing is I'm boiling the rice like you do noodles, instead of covering the pot and you know, letting it steam for so many minutes and yada yada yada. What I'm doing is I'm cooking the rice exactly like you cook noodles. So watch how that comes out. You'll see. Okay, notice the water has come back to a boil. You cook this rice exactly like you cook noodles. You stir it occasionally to keep it from sticking, just like you do noodles, pasta or whatever, and you cook it until it's done. Now, here's where you can do something a little different. If the rice is going to go into another dish that maybe you're going to bake or something like that, then you'll cook the rice just like you do noodles till it's al dente. However, if you're going to use the rice and just put it in your refrigerator and use it for butter and rice or rice pudding or whatever like that, then you want to cook the rice until it's totally done. But you're cooking the rice exactly as you would cook pasta. So, see, it's not even close to done, but we're just letting it boil. Okay, I've checked the rice, and like I said, this rice will not be cooked in what it's going to be used in. It will not be cooked again. It's only going to be heated up. And so that's why I'm cooking this is just another easy way of cooking white rice. If you look at your cookbooks from many years ago, you will find that this was a very popular way of cooking rice, because you're still going to get your individual grains. Like I said, this rice is not going to be cooked again, so this is where I want it. If I was going to cook it in a casserole or something, I would have cooked it only till al dente. But I'm not. This is all it's going to be cooked. And right now it's nice and soft the way I like my rice, so I'm going to drain it. Okay, so here's my rice drained. See how it's nice individual pieces? And it's cooked all the way through. Cooked it just like you would pasta. So next, I've got fresh water in cold water in this pot. Now we're going to cook some of these noodle nests, I guess is what you call them. Another little hint here, always start with fresh cold water. I know you might think you're saving time by using hot water, but it just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't taste the same. When you're making tea, coffee, cooking, whatever, you always want to start with fresh cold water. So now when this water comes to a boil, we'll add our nests. Okay, my water's boiling, and I'm going to add my little nest here. See my nest? I'm going to try to keep them intact, but I've made these before and they don't always stay intact, so let's see. I got one more, so let's see if I can get that in there. Okay, now I'm going to, just like any pasta, I'm going to see if I can make sure that doesn't stick. I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of that in there so I can empty that package. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, but this package of Nests only cost me $1. And it's made in Italy. Pound of pasta for $1. That's pretty good. So now we're going to bring this back up to a boil and cook this again. This will not be cooked anymore. So instead of cooking it till al dente the way you would if you were adding something to it or cooking it more, I'm going to cook it to the way I like it, which will be past al dente. I don't like al dente pasta. So we'll be back. Okay, y'all, I just checked these to make sure they weren't sticking to the bottom, and the nests are not holding together, which that's happened to me before. They're kind of holding together, but not really. So there won't be nests, there'll be noodles. That's okay. So I'll bring you back when these are done and I get ready to drain them. So there we go. We have perfectly cooked noodles. And look at there. Perfectly cooked rice. So now on to the soup. And I'm going to use the same pot. So that's what's next. Okay, now we're on to making the soup base. I have 6 cups of water in here. And for my spices, I have 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, which that's 1 teaspoon. 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So there's 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, since there's 1 teaspoon per cup. I have about a heaping teaspoon of garlic. I have about 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. I have about a tablespoon of parsley flakes. And about heaping tablespoon of dried onions. I just really like the way dried onions give flavor. So we're going to put that all in there. My bowl must have been wet. Okay, we're going to put that all in there. That garlic sure is good. So now we're going to get our next ingredient. Okay, here you go. There's the soup base, and it's getting ready to come back to a boil because I made that mainly for me. You saw I put garlic in it, so Ernie ain't going to want it. But here is a couple of Ernie's pot pies. So what I've done is he decided he wanted noodles. So now he's going to get the noodles, and he's going to get the pot pies. So see, he had his choice between the noodles that I made and that rice. So now I'm going to bring this back up to a boil, and I'm going to finish the soup for me. But there's Ernie's dinner. He gets pot pie and noodles. Okay, I had to wait to get Ernie's out of the way. So I've got 2 boiled potatoes here that have already been boiled, and I'm going to put them in the soup stock. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to a boil. That's all I'm putting in there. And then in my bowl, I'm going to put rice and put the soup stock over it. So that's how we're having soup today. Okay, y'all, it's time to eat. So here's the rice that I made. And I made just plain old rice so that if I wanted rice in my soup, I could have rice in my soup, which I do. I have rice in the bottom of my bowl. There's the noodles that I made. Ernie chose the noodles, so he had the noodles with his pot pies. I put the potatoes in here. I boiled a bunch of potatoes yesterday, a bunch of extra potatoes. I put the potatoes in here in this broth where you saw me add those spices. Now, this should be hot enough. The potatoes were already cooked, so this should be hot enough. So I can serve me up some soup now. So there we go. I'm having me potato rice soup. Here's the broth, so it's ready for later on when I want to make something else. And here's Ernie some more noodles, and there's me some more rice. So thanks for watching, y'all. This is kind of like a soup buffet.